listening to a band of gamers podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com. ABOG, hey, welcome back
to a podcast.
I was waiting for that, Shane. It's like
what? Already?
I was waiting. We've got a good episode. In this episode, Canada is a decade behind. Shane,
what?
I need answers.
Yeah.
Another big, highly anticipated game is delayed until 2022. Microsoft announces some positive news in a recent earnings call. Nerds regarding sales of their Xbox. No, we're nerds. We're chatting about the Xbox earnings call. And Sony, too, regarding their PlayStation 5 disc version. They've got some news. Valve, on the other hand, knows how to launch a console the right way. We get a major TV and movie deal, has us excited about a video game. How does a new dad still find time for gaming? Which one of us is having a kid?
Wait, what?
Stay tuned. We got what we're drinking. We'll share what's in our pint glasses. And yes, a cheeky platinum to grow that e-penis. Raise that PlayStation number.
Right? A big one. A big one this week. Not a big game, but a big number.
I didn't know where you're going with that there. Thank you for joining us.
I'll be off to stay tuned.
You can listen to our past episodes everywhere podcasts are available, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Pandora, YouTube, all the places. Be sure to like and follow, subscribe, get all these episodes in your feed when they're available. I'm Joel, your MC, recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, USA, and I feel like $1 million. More on that later in the beers section. Joining me on this podcast journey, my two best mates. First of all, from Birmingham, England, getting festival ready. It's Carl. Hey, Carl.
Hey, yes. First time in a long time I'm going to actually get a chance to see somebody play some music live in a week or so. So, yeah, I'm super stoked, man. It's been so long. It's all outdoors, Bloodstock Festival. Here we come. Ooh. Try telling that you're going to a festival called Bloodstock when you work in corporate finance to, oh, you do anything nice in your days off? Yeah, Bloodstock, yeah, let's go. Always goes down super well, But yeah, I'm so excited, man. But not nearly as excited as I am to be here today, now.
I love it. From Vancouver, Canada, the latest streamer. It's Shane. Do tell.
Huh? Craziness, man. I hit that broadcast button.
What?
A couple times this past week, man. I'm getting used to that.
Look at you. Twitch affiliate. Here you come.
I'm trying.
Got that Twitch money.
Right? Back the money truck up, boys. Yeah, no, I started, and I've had a couple people popping in and whatnot. And, it's kind of got the gears turning. So we'll see what happens. I got some ideas to be streaming a little bit. And, it looks like it could be a good time. So getting my feet wet right now. But we'll see what happens.
Awesome, man. And we've got a very special guest joining us this episode. Sitting there quietly, patiently for us to introduce him. Adrian. What's going on, Adrian?
Hey, nothing much. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me today.
Let's go, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adrian's a friend of mine, a friend of ABOG. He's been around with us for quite a long time, and
long-time listener.
Every time we get together and our ladies get together, usually Adrian and I end up in a different corner of the room talking video games.
That is true.
Right on.
Or in the same,
totally true.
Or in the same area as the ladies, and eventually they tell us to shut up so we can talk about something else.
Also happens.
Yes, that's true. Let's get right into it. EB Games Canada is being rebranded to Gamestop Canada. The first thing that came to my mind when I heard that news is, okay, well, what took you so long? Because I think EB Games, the United States, was rebranded to GameStop forever ago, right? 15 years, maybe? EB Games has not been around in a while. So what's the deal, Shane? What's up with Canada?
I have no idea. This is news to me. I'm guessing they were able to get a hold of the name and licensing, I guess. I don't know.
There's GameStops in Canada already, right?
Well, there's EB Games, and then they started doing EBX.
EBX
Yeah, I guess it was like some of the larger stores they referred to as an EBX, which would have like Funko Pops and all that jazz that the kids like nowadays. But yeah, changing the name. Still ain't shopping there. I ain't shopping there. Still ain't happening.
You got to support those mom and pop shops, right?
Always, man.
Yeah,
always, man. And they're exactly, and they're the best too, man. They, they're not selling new games and then taking them out of the shrink wrap and selling to you as new. But we'll let EB Games be EB Games and see ya, I guess. Finally, they're gone. My dream has come true. There is no more EB Games, so cheers, everyone.
Well,
I guess
they're still there. They just have a new name. It's the same shit.
Unfortunately.
Adrian, do you go shopping for you're all online, right? All digital, right?
Yeah, I'm all digital storefronts now. I worked for an EB Games a long time ago.
What?
Really?
A long time ago. Yeah, it was a fun part-time job.
How long ago was
I was just walking by and they're like, saw the hiring sign. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. So I got to learn behind the scenes stuff with all of that.
And how long did it take you to ask what kind of discount you got?
Immediately before the hiring.
Right.
Blizzard delays Diablo Immortal until 2022. Shane, a box of Kleenex needed. Excuse me. Carl is our Diablo freak on this show. Get the box of Kleenex out.
Well, I mean, I wasn't that fussed about the mobile game for a long time, and then I think you kind of get to the point where there's only so much Diablo 3 you can play, even though you want to go back in and play some more, with Platinum and all the rest of it. So it was kind of it was shaping up to be pretty good in more. So I am a bit disappointed to see that it does slip, but it's one of those things. I think whether they're now focusing a little bit more. I think it is a separate team than the guys that are working on Diablo 4. But this was kind of the game I was going to hold me over until Diablo 4 came out. So yeah, a bit bummed, but I guess it's just one of the things that they need to iron out.
And here I thought this was Diablo 4.
No, this is Immortal's the mobile game.
Oh, this is the one that everybody was really happy about at that BlizzCon, hey?
Yeah, everyone was like, no, we want Diablo 4, not this mobile game. And then people have tested it and they're like, oh, actually, it's pretty decent in all fairness. So
funny how that happens.
Yeah, it's one of them. You'll play it for a couple of months and then probably never play it again, as with most mobile games. But yeah, we'll see what happens with it. It did look good, though, from what I saw. So yeah, give it a bit more of a polish and we'll see what it looks like.
What's the word, Adrian? You've been to a BlizzCon or two?
Yeah, I think I don't know if they're going to have a BlizzCon this year. They don't have much to show. Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, and Diablo Immortal. Now all of them slated for 2022, and I know they have a couple mobile games for the Warcraft franchise in the works, and I don't think they have anything ready to show. So I'd be curious if they're going to have one in November this year, or if it's going to be pushed back to like June or whatever, when those things are more cooked and they have something to give the people.
Has there been any? I put this in the agenda. If I knew it was the mobile game, I probably wouldn't have put it in here, to be honest with you. So, is there any? What's the word on the street with folks after this game was delayed?
I think mixed, really. The Diablo's got one of these. It has got a really good core audience to it. And I think the way it was shaping up, it was actually a bit of a surprise, and it was looking all right. So again, I don't think anyone's losing sleep over it particularly. And we are already halfway. Well, we're well over halfway through the year, aren't we? So stuff being delayed to 2022 when you're in August doesn't seem that bad. So there's been no outrage. And I think with all the news from Blizzard the last couple of weeks, I think this is probably the ideal time for them to just slip out some news, say, the other mobile game's been delayed. So yeah, they need a big 2023 for sure. 2022 even. God, I'm adding a year on.
I mean, if people are looking for their Diablo fix in September, the Diablo 2 remake is coming on out, and I think it lands on all the consoles at the same time. And I put a lot of hours into Diablo 2 back in the day.
No, I never played Diablo 2. Diablo 3 was the first one I played, to be fair. I think I played like Baldur's Gate and a couple of other older ones way back. But the Diablo 2 one the remake of it looks pretty good, but they kind of they didn't do the best job with Warcraft 3 when they kind of remade that. And I'm on the fence, Adrian. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sitting there thinking I'll wait and see how this is received. I think before I'll pick it up.
You're absolutely right. I got a refund for Warcraft 3 Reforged because it was like
same.
I was like, I don't have the patience for this. And I didn't look back.
We've got other news from Xbox. This in their earnings call. Satya Nadella? Did I say that correctly? I don't say this guy's name a whole lot.
Sounds close.
All right.
Sounds very close, if not on.
Let's go with that. So he's the CEO of Microsoft. And in this earnings call where they talked about all things Microsoft, they mentioned Xbox real shortly. And they said the Xbox Series X and X are the fastest selling consoles ever in the Xbox brand. They said more consoles sold live to date than any other previous generation. Surprising considering the inventory has been strapped pretty hard.
It is eye-opening, and I think they've made a lot of headway in the overseas markets. And I'm not saying they're going to get out of PlayStation shadow anytime soon, but I think they've picked up some key companies along the way, Obsidian and Exile and a few others, along with the Game Pass being such a great deal.
Yeah,
they made quite a successful push in Japan.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
brand has been massive over there the past few years, so you can see them picking up a lot of ground that way.
And by massive,
they seem to have embraced those RPGs, don't they, this time around? And Japanese market's taking that.
So they go from selling 10 consoles to 100? What do you mean by massive? I didn't realize they picked up momentum in Japan, Shane. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they have. I think they've, especially was it the Yakuza games which came across to Xbox, and then they've come onto Game Pass as well. And the Japs love the RPGs, so it's common sense if you want to, try and get your console out there, you got to get some RPG loving.
They've also kind of gone away from the handheld, with the handheld market, which has been dying over the years, with the exception of the Nintendo Switch. The Japanese gamers have moved away from the handheld gaming, and they're into the home console market, and it's proven with Xbox here.
We've got some other news here out of Sony. PlayStation 5 disc version is no longer being sold at a loss. Sony Chief Financial Officer, Hiroki Totoki. Oh my God, I can't say his name. Said that he's CFO. Said the company's key product, the $499 PlayStation 5, is no longer selling at a loss. The $399 PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, however, is on track to have its losses offset by other hardware sales, including peripherals and PlayStation 4, he added. So that one's still selling at a loss. PlayStation 5, however, no longer selling at a loss. Who cares? Does this matter? This is
because all the scalpers are buying them.
It's slightly ahead of schedule, isn't it? They reckon that they sell at a loss for about a year or so, don't they, after launch? So I guess we're just a little bit ahead of that 12 months. It's just interesting the way that they've said there that the PS5 digital one will be offset a little bit by PlayStation 4 still. So I'm assuming that they're still shifting some PS4s.
Yeah, they're sold out everywhere here. PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, obviously, you can't get in the US. I'm not sure what it's like everywhere else. But PlayStation 4 is also pretty much dried up right now. The Pandini, as Shane calls it, has really kept people indoors gaming, selling a lot of consoles.
Got a whole new batch of gamers out there now, right?
Yeah, and a lot of older folks like us with too much money and nothing to do, buying all the consoles. So now we have them all rather than just like one.
Right. A lot of cellophane on my gaming shelf. Boy, let me tell you, more cellophane than there is games on there.
People think you're a serial killer. No, I just haven't opened them.
Think.
I went all digital, so I didn't have to. I did the cellophane wrapping no longer mocked me every time I walk by. Like, you fool.
But the thing is, it's so much easier to hide a digital purchase from your other half, right? Like, no one can see if you just bought a game for $50 or whatever. It's like, oh, I had that ages. Yeah, just been sat in the backlog.
That's totally true. I'm like, oh, it was 80% off. It was $5.
Love it.
Brilliant.
I had a guitar set up today, or picked it up from the music store. Walked in the house with the guitar, and my wife's like, "Now what'd you do?" Like, it's the same one. Oh, okay.
Nice.
I'm surprised she didn't say, "Open the case. Let me prove it.
Right?
Prove it."
No, it's just the bank.
Next bit of news. I'm really curious to talk to Adrian about this and get into some more detail on it. But Valve has, I think they've done a console launch the right way, right? They're way out ahead of it, and they're offering pre-orders. And from what I can tell, and Adrian, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, it would appear to me that the amount of money they get for pre-orders will determine how many they make, rather than having perhaps issues, and maybe the chipset is not one that they can't come by. I don't know. Help me out here, Adrian. What's going on there?
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. They said they were aware of third-party sellers, and they allowed one per account to be reserved. And another hurdle that they had in place that nobody knew about until they revealed later is if you didn't have a purchase on your account by June, when the reservations were going on in July, you were unable to reserve one. So you couldn't make like 5 accounts the day before and then reserve 5 of them. So I think they handled it pretty well. I mean, it doesn't stop all the angles of scalping, but it certainly cuts down the avenues a bit more.
And when do these things due to launch? They're just next year, right? 2022, is that correct?
Yep. So I looked at it today, and the 2 models, the one that's the base model and the premium model, are Q2 of 2022, and the middle model that I reserved is Q1 of 2022. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's basically a mobile PC in your hands, and cars nowadays are mobile hotspots. So my wife's going to be driving a bit more in the new year.
That's awesome, man. I've toyed with the idea of pre-ordering one. I think you could still pre-order one as well. Like if you want to, your release date is pushed back according to when they expect to get the stock in. So I may well jump on this. If I've got a couple of spare quid down the back of the sofa. Just because it'd be cool to have. It would be nice to just be able to boot up and play, like on the travels and all the rest of it. So I'm looking forward to those first reviews. See when they come in, see what it's like.
And it seems pretty friendly because even if you get the Steam Deck and for whatever reason you don't want to have Valve involved at all, you can still download the Epic Game Store or GOG or any third party that you want and completely surpass them at all and still have access to your digital libraries if you already have them, which I think is like incredibly nice of them to do and not lock you into like their store. And also they don't have like what I call like the Nintendo tax or the Microsoft tax, like using their online. You don't have to pay that $20 a year or $50 a year just to use their online. It's as long as you have a Wi-Fi or any connection, you're free to do whatever you want, which I think is nice. And if nobody's ever seen a Steam sale before, probably the one I can say is going to happen is definitely during Halloween. I would just take a look and you'll see how crazy the prices can get on some games. They get way down there, and it's
pennies almost.
Yeah, it's insanity. People make meme videos over the Steam sales. It's pretty funny.
I don't know about you, Adrian, but one of the worst things that happens to me is when I get that email just saying, you've got 80 items on your Steam wishlist up for sale. And they're like, crap, go in and have a look. And it's 80, 90% off and stuff's like a quid, £1.20. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, I could buy Arkham City again. I'm gonna play that again at some point. Yeah, like it's just one of them. Like I put all these games on there and I'm just like, definitely then that's on sale, I'll pick it up. And I must admit the sales, the price of games, I think when you're a PC gamer, you do get a bit spoiled with the variety because obviously all the indie games that tend to come to Game Pass and come to the consoles, they're generally already out on PC or they've been on early access and things like that. So you're always going to get them cheaper on PC than you are on console for a period of time anyway.
That is true. That is definitely true. And I think another thing with their control aspect that they've done too is they're allowing you to use gyro controls, touch screen Bluetooth PlayStation controls. So whatever people are comfortable with as well, you're able to use those day one and just run with it.
Nice. I didn't know that. They have like little touchpads on it that, from what I'm hearing, is supposed to mimic like having a mouse and keyboard. Is that right? Is that going to work like a mouse, do you think?
I have a Steam controller, and the trackpad on there was pretty unreliable. But everybody that I've listened to that said has tested is definitely like 2 steps above that. And the Valve have also said that they're going to continue to tune that. And I think it's very valuable if they can get that in sync a lot better and have it reliable. I mean, to play games like the Total War series or like Command and Conquer RTSs, and if you're able to do that, wow, you really have the full spectrum of gaming right in your hands.
Speaking of a full spectrum of gaming right in your hands, you've told me about at one of our hangouts with our wives where we went off in the corner and chatted about some serious gaming. You were talking, Adrian, about the remote capabilities with Steam. Can you talk a little bit about that on the show and enlighten our listeners? You were really, really excited. This is prior to the Steam Deck, right? This remote capability. Yep. Talk about your setup there at work.
Yeah, so that's the Steam Link function. And it started off as kind of like a modem that you could do, and you could do it anywhere in your house. And it slowly evolved into a program that you could download either on your phone, tablet, what have you. And as long as your computer has a 5G connection and you leave it on, you can remote access your computer anywhere. And I went to some pretty backwoodsy places in Wisconsin, and I was playing fighting games online. I was playing Guilty Gear XR, and virtually like no hiccups. And I was completely like, that's amazing that they're able to get to that point.
Does that instill confidence in you when they announce the Steam Deck? Are you thinking that's like the next level of that integration?
I truly think so. I think they've learned a lot of lessons from the Steam Machine. That's a step in between Steam Link and Steam Deck that had a very mixed reception. And I think they learned some very important lessons. And I think, and everybody who's had the 90-minute demo with it have been extremely positive.
Cool. Just waiting to see if anybody else had anything else to say. I guess not. Moving on to the next bit of news here. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone signed a new deal to make TV shows. So get this, they're signed on now to make up through their 30th anniversary on South Park for TV shows. 30 years.
Right? That's wild.
30 years and still going strong, right? Because that contract they got was worth quite a bit. So they must be still in high demand.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it was 14 movies or something in that deal. I don't know, a large amount, just a staggering amount of movies that they're going to make as part of that deal with Comedy Central. And a new video game. That's why I bring this up here.
Nice.
Part of that deal is a new video game. South Park: The Stick of Truth was Shane and Carl's favorite of the year. I looked it up, 2015.
Yes.
That was episode 87. Man, that was a long time ago.
Great game.
And you guys also...
Fantastic game, dare I say. It really is. That first one was something else, man. I remember you would boot that up and then you'd make your dude in it or do that and be like, holy crap, man, like I'm in a South Park. Like it was so seamless. It was brilliant. You know, and then they followed it up with the Fractured Butthole and just another knockout that they did.
I'm curious if they'll do that same style of game or if they'll do something else completely different. I remember the N64 South Park going way back. One. Yeah, that was a turd.
Yes.
I had fun with that.
With
it wasn't the worst N64 game I played. So
no, there's plenty of bad N64 games. Not that it's a bad console. I mean, it's great console. Loved it.
Oh, there's some great games on there too. Some underrated, some hidden gems, maybe even. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm stoked for another South Park game though. In all fairness, I love the Fractured Butthole, especially the way that they changed the combat mechanics a little bit, and it was very much like an old Japanese RPG where you they can move a step forward or back, and they make your attack and stuff like that. So, whereas the Stick of Truth was pretty much just on like a 2D plane, wasn't it? When you just jumped in front, took your turn, jumped back, and stuff like that. But they've definitely got the material. Make another banger.
And it's really smart of how inviting the gameplay is, even for being an RPG and whatnot. So folks that aren't accustomed to playing RPGs or anything, but you're a big South Park fan, you can get in there and still enjoy it, and it's very forgiving. You're not going to be pulling your hair out at any point.
We've got a special guest on the show. I want to talk more. I got to give him some opportunities here to talk. So let's get to know Adrian a little bit here. And first of all, I wanted to congratulate Adrian, because at the top of the show, I mentioned that we've got a new dad amongst us. Left a nice little teaser to make you think it was Shane or I, but no, it's Adrian. Congrats, Adrian. Big
Thank
news
you.
there. You and Molly
Yeah,
both.
congrats, dude.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Expecting.
Thank you very much.
When
It's
is
amazing.
what's the window of when you'll have that baby?
End of January.
End of January.
Ooh.
So is that right during
Coming
Bucks,
up quick.
right during Buck season for Molly there?
I think so. Yes. Yep. We'll have to see who's on baby duty first.
Well, congratulations. It's
Thank you.
A little cheers there. Raise our glasses for Molly and Adrian. That's great news.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
I thought we'd chat a little bit here about our resident dad, Carl. Thought maybe he could share some tips, some advice. How are you going to find time for gaming once you're on baby duty? What can you say, Carl? You got any tips for Adrian here?
I think me personally, I think it's important to take as much time off on paternity as you can. The first kind of, I took a month off with the boy when he was born. And the key is how you handle the nighttime feeds, because there's time to game where, when feeding or just after feeding. So, with the lad Luke when he was little, we were quite lucky. He kind of slept most of the way through the night. He'd wake up every sort of 3 hours, and I found that you could quite easily get the feed underway, get that done, and then they tend to just sleep on you anyway, and just burp them, and they'll chill out for a bit, and you could put them down and go back to bed, or you could get the controller, baby on the chest, and and get a couple of hours in.
Even more so with that Steam Deck.
Yeah,
because you got
Yeah.
you got Antetokounmpo laying there, right? Because he's obviously going to be named after Antetokounmpo. And then you got your Steam Deck in the hands, and then because it's at nighttime, it's dark and whatnot, so it adds like a bit of a night light as well. So you get two birds stoned at once,
I like
Yeah.
it, Shane. I like it.
right?
Yep, definitely gaming in the feed time is great. When they're young, you can play whatever you like in terms of content, because they've no different. They've got no understanding of what's what. So you probably got 12 months of that where you can pretty much play anything on the telly. As they start to become a bit more vocal, you have to rein it in. You can't play the violent games or anything that's a bit rude and stuff like that. So, as they kind of repeat everything that you say, make sure you keep all your consoles, all your games behind doors, up high on shelves, because the last thing you want is them little grubby fingers, all over your consoles and your Steam Deck.
Full of goldfish and Cheerios,
Cheetos.
Tried ketchup.
dried ketchup.
Yeah. If he or her runs in, and Daddy, look what I did, and there's just, I don't know, toast in the PS5 disk drive or whatever, you think, oh God, it's. Yeah, they're wonderful, but they can certainly be a distraction. So you got to be clever with it. You got to be, and then when you are done with the feed and you've got an hour in, say, and you go back into bed, and you just, she might be like, oh, you've been up an hour or two. Like, oh yeah, it was really tough. Yeah, this is a difficult feed. I think I might need a bit more rest time. Maybe you take her out for a walk or whatever tomorrow, and then when the your other half takes the little one out, then that's also time to game.
He's got it all figured out.
I like
Oh,
all
yeah.
the segmented windows of time.
You got
Huge
to
help.
make the most of your time. But then obviously when you're back to work, you got the commute and things like that. You can Steam Deck could be brilliant because you just take it to work, play in your lunch hour. Like you can squeeze it in there, but you don't have to tell Molly. Then when you get home, you can be like, oh man, I haven't played anything for ages.
I think we got a mind meld going on, because I was totally like, thinking that for the future.
Yeah, this is ways and means, mate.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Are you scheming already, Adrian? Adrian, are you already? I mean, prior to his tips, I'm sure I know you well enough that you're already thinking well in advance of this. Do you have any planning yet that you've thought through on how you're going to sneak some gaming in?
Well, I'm hoping the baby's a good sleeper, so it's just wake it up, feed it, burp them. And I like to mill around at night. Like I feel like night is kind of like my setting, so I'm sure I'll be sneaking stuff in. I think oh geez, I can't think of the name. It's a board game that became a game on Steam. I was like, that would be a perfect one.
No,
I can't.
Ouija.
Ouija, yeah. I can't think of it right now, which is killing me.
A card battle or something, like Slay the Spire or something like that. Was that a board game first or a game first?
I'll cheat and take a look here. On the computer.
Take a look. One other thing I'd say is definitely have your go-to game, a game that you can jump in for half an hour, like, you know, because you never know how much time you're going to get. So something that you can get out, put in half an hour, get out, and, you know, not lose your progress and all the rest of it, or not forget where you were.
Gloomhaven is the one.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a turn-based style. I was thinking Gloomhaven and Baldur's Gate 3, whenever that launches, would be perfect titles for having a young one.
Excellent.
I think my Final Fantasy 14 days are going to be put to a kibosh here soon.
Yeah, totally.
Does Steam do like the cloud save as well, like Microsoft does, where you can be at home on your PC playing and then go to work and just totally take over where you left off?
Yep, absolutely. Even if you delete a game and you're like 5 years later, you're like, you know what? Let's get back into it. You have everything still there. It's kind of crazy that way.
And they don't charge
like
for
if you
that.
delete it off your hard drive.
There's no fee for that on Steam.
Nothing.
None.
Man, what do you think, Shane? I think we're getting robbed here on our Sonys and our Xboxes with all the money we pay for that feature.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Just hey, you know, it's console gaming though. You know, that's what we do, I guess.
It's a premium that we pay for first party games.
Yeah, true.
Well, sometimes.
Ish.
I mean, that might change because Xbox and Sony said they're going to release all their console exclusive games to the PC. So
always
that
going to
could
happen.
be wide open.
Yeah, we know Xbox for sure is going to do that. I'll be curious to see if Sony continues that trend, because I know they did that with Horizon Zero Dawn and a few others, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Could totally happen. Let's get to know Adrian a little bit better. Carl has this long list of questions on our agenda. I've highlighted a couple. Would take 4 hours to get through them all. Some good ones in here, some dandies. First one.
All right, I'll be.
What's that?
Oh no, say go ahead.
No, okay. Well, I wanted to ask you if PC gamers are really superior to console gamers.
No. I would say the only time I've ever run into that outside of today is like memes. I think gaming has gotten much cooler in the fact that like I was playing a game called Spellbreak, I think it was called, or Spellhold, and yes, great game, a lot of fun. And I thought it was fun. I thought their neat twist on it was showing like a special symbol for like PlayStation players, Epic Games, Nintendo Switch, and everybody I ran into, even when I was playing the Back 4 Blood beta this weekend, like, and had Xbox players, they're like, oh, we got somebody from PC here. Never run into like which one's better or who's better or anything like that outside of internet memes. I'll say no.
No. Carl, same question.
I'd probably agree with Adrian. I think there's generally two schools of thought, isn't there? You know, PC gamers have the best. You're always going to be the best performing games on PC as opposed to console. So they always refer to, well, not always refer, but often refer to console gamers as console peasants. You know, the PC master race, because PCs perform better and all the rest of it. And then you have the old stigma of mouse and keyboard versus controller. And I never play on mouse and keyboard, but then on a random, like Valorant is a game that I always play on mouse and keyboard, which bizarrely. And it just feels right, you know. But I wouldn't say I'm any better than anybody else with a controller who's playing a different game on a console. So yeah, I'd say no, they're not superior. I think if you are solely in that infrastructure, you know, you're literally in the ecosystem. You only have a PC. You are getting a very good deal in terms of, you know, it's the cheapest way to play games. Once you have that initial outlay for the actual PC, you know, it's buying the games. It's dirt cheap.
Yeah. Do you ever get into, Adrian, having to upgrade the reason why, and I think Shane might be in the same boat as me, we like having the consoles under the TV. It's just easy. You get the disc or you buy the download. There's no hassle, right? We don't have to deal with new video cards and new whatever RAM and all the crap that goes along with it.
And for someone like myself, and I'm pretty sure Joel as well, we sit in front of a computer all day at work, and I don't want to come home and go to play a video game and then sit in front of the computer even more. It feels a lot different being on the couch or whatnot in the living room with the TV, where there's a little bit more stuff going on than hunkered into a back bedroom or den and sitting on the computer even more. So
totally understand the diminishing returns there.
Right.
Do you
totally get that?
Are you constantly upgrading your PC, or do you just kind of buy one every few years? And if so, how many years? I mean, sell us consoles gamers on being a PC gamer.
Yeah, I would say the upgrading was more like when I was in my high school days, nearly 20 some years ago. I remember like waiting for the graphics card and changing them out. But the one I currently have, and I think the last one I also had, like lasted about 7 to 8 years. I am looking to upgrade now, but like with the chip shortage and what that's doing to all the scalping with graphics cards, like that's not happening for me until 2022 unless I just want to pay way more money than what's necessary. But I mean, this one's about 7 years old and it still does everything. Like I've always been the middle of the road. Like I've always gotten the second best graphics card. I don't need the best one and paying anywhere from $600 to $1,000 more than second place. Like,
Ooh,
yeah,
geez.
it gets rough. It gets really rough. But
I don't think you need to either.
No, not at all. And like how long this has lasted and the quality has been fantastic.
Especially the way that you've got cryptocurrency miners buying all the graphics cards up, and that forces the price on a massive premium on top of that. Adrian, what card are you running in your PC at the moment? If it's 7 years old,
a GTX 1080, I believe.
1080. See, that's still a decent card. What I tend to do is buy a new PC every couple of years. I'm terrible at upgrading. Because the minute I'm like, I need a new GPU, or maybe I could, upgrade the CPU as well, and then you've got to change your power supply, and then how much can your motherboard take? And it all goes over my head, and I'm like, well, I'd rather pay somebody and just send me a box, and I'll plug the new box in, and then this PC will probably go to the boy. He's got my old one. He's got Rita. Still lovely Rita. She's still knocking about, and he's only got a GTX 970 in that, but it's still a great card. Like it's still such a workhorse. And that PC that's got to be 7 or 8 years old now, I would imagine. But you don't, it is a big outlay. But if you use it for other things, streaming, work, podcasting, whatever it might be, it all works itself out in the end, I think. But yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely buy that new box.
Nice.
I think the Steam Deck, I don't know if Shane, you feel the same way, but the Steam Deck to me feels like
I do
an entry point. Thanks. An entry point to us console gamers to go PC. It seems like a comfortable spot, right? Like I can just buy this machine and play all the Steam games that I don't want to deal with GPU, motherboard, power source. Everything Carl just said is a nightmare. I just give me the box. Let me play it. And I feel like the Steam Deck would be a really good console version of a PC gamer type of mentality.
100%.
Thanks.
100%. Yeah. Play it anywhere. You play it on the couch, play it in bed, play it in the car, at work, some folks, can pull that off. So yeah, definitely. It's definitely that kind of, it bridges the gap to, inviting some folks into the the PC world. There's a lot of exclusive games on Steam that you can't really get anywhere else as well that people have wanted to try, and I'm no stranger to that either.
Nice.
Do you have any consoles under the TV, Adrian? Are you strictly a PC gamer guy?
I do have an Xbox and a PlayStation 4.
He's got the PS.
Nice. Which of you do you play? Do you get a lot of console time, or you just have them just for a game here and there? How's that work?
Just for a game here or there. I was gifted both consoles from some friends. So when Destiny was a big thing, and my PC buddies were, Destiny wasn't on the PC, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Oh,
And then a few days later, there's a big box in front of my apartment door, and I'm like, what the heck is this?
Nice.
And I open it up, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys!
Talk about
That's awesome.
some obligation there, right? I'm gonna have to play some Destiny now. I got this nice big gift here.
no, really,
Oh,
somebody just left it on my doorstep. I didn't buy it. I swear to you, I didn't buy it. No, it was just left the console fairies.
As if your other half's going to believe that,
Right?
even if it's true. Like,
there was a lot of questions. I still don't think to this day she thinks the story's true.
Oh no, of course, right?
What was the first console you ever owned, Adrian?
Coleco, I think it was. Very old one.
Nice. Showing your age there. I love it.
Yeah. I believe it was called Coleco.
ColecoVision.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the shit.
I mean, I've read about it. That's what, the older generation played.
Compared to Atari at the time, the ColecoVision killed it. Way better. 8-bit. Well, it was 8-bit before Nintendo, the original Nintendo.
Mm-hmm. They had that Dukes of Hazzard game.
I did not have that.
Right, because didn't it have the wheel too?
I think so. I
had like a little wheel or something. Yeah.
I want to say I was like first grade, so my memory's a little foggy in that area.
Have you ever wanted to live in a world from a game, and if so, which game?
Ooh,
that's a very
question.
Deep, heady question. Sorry.
No, that's a great question. Man, there's so many I've been inspired by. It's hard to just choose one, because living in that world is living by the rules of that world. And do you judge it by its mechanics, or just what the rules could be in the perfect setting?
That's up to you, my friend.
I would say D&D. I've always been a big D&D nerd, so just the boundless opportunities there would be fantastical.
Is there a game considered to be really bad, but it's your guilty secret pleasure?
I liked Resident Evil 6 when everybody was really bagging on that one. I was a big fan of it.
That was a tough one.
I was very unpopular in many rooms at the time.
I like this next question. And Carl, thank you. This is a great list of questions you put together here. Would you rather have loads of time to play games, but only be able to buy 2 games a year, or be able to buy loads of games and never have any time to play them?
Wow, that is a true Sophie's choice. If you only get 2 games, do they get the updates for those games and all that?
Sure.
Yeah. Updates and DLC.
That's tough. I think I'll have to go with my buying habits and just say loads of games, but smaller amount of. I think that's more honest.
That could change come January. We'll have to we'll find out.
That is true. I could flip.
When time becomes your most precious commodity. Oh, God. I've got a random one for you, because I know you've obviously got all the stores on the PC and all the rest of it. The Epic Game Store is like a ridiculous free game service. I've never bought a game on there. I don't know about you, mate. I have a library of well over 100, and I think it's like 120 games that they give away multiple games, 3 or 4 games a month or whatever it is, and like Grand Theft Auto, Star Wars Battlefront, decent games, they're not indie games, and it's insane. Like if you want to get a Steam Deck and you want to install, I think it's like a Linux operating system, you can just install the other stores on there. That's the thing. Just keep claiming your free games, and all of a sudden you've got a couple of years and you've got all the hundreds of games which you've never had to pay anything for, and there's no monthly fees, nothing. They're yours forever. It's do you do what I do? Do you jump in and just grab them games and thank you very much, I'll play that at some point?
I was on top of that for a while, and this is just me. I realized I'm like, oh man, my friends are hubbed through Steam and Battle.net. And it was a tough sell, trying to get them to also, download another, not browser, but another game startup thing.
Yeah, storefront.
And even with the, possibility of getting 2 to 3 games a month, like wasn't enough to get them to just download it and hit the install button. But I was on top of that for a pretty long while, and I still like when I still will look every Sunday, like what's going to be the next ones coming out, and I will fire it up and download them.
Nice. And what games are you playing currently? What's hot in your rotation at the moment?
Ooh, I'm playing Magic Arena, Magic the Gathering Arena, which is a fun one. It's actually got the D&D setting cards, so that drew me to it. And I'm also playing Synthetic Legion Rising, which was $4 on Steam just a few days ago because they got the sequel coming out here in August. And that's like a twin stick shooter, rogue-like, very RNG heavy. Each run is a different run, different weapons, different passives. I would say those two are probably at the top of my list right now.
How about favorite games in the last, let's say, year? What's on top of your pile there for the last year or so?
I really liked Gloomhaven. I thought that one really surprised me. I had a friend who like had to pull me into it. It was $30. I'm like, man, I already bought this. And he's like, if you don't like it, I will Venmo you. And I'm like, all right, fine. And then it was like 100 hours later. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really good. It's really good.
Right?
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, that's like the third time you mentioned Gloomhaven. I wrote it down here. I got to make sure I put that tag in our show notes.
I'm opening Steam right now.
It really surprised me. It's one of those things where you get like the anxiety because you only have X number of turns to beat something, and that X number is based on like how you use your cards, and you see how it all unfolds. And there's just ones where you're like 6 turns in, you're like, oh, this is never going to happen. And then somehow by some stroke of luck, it just falls together on the last turn, and it just gets you to like hit your mute button on your mic and just scream really loudly.
Sounds like some PC rubber banding to me right there.
There's a few times where like Molly's like, hey, is everything okay down there?
Yes, dear. It's fine.
Would you give up, that's a good last question here. Would you give up video games for life and receive $500,000 in cash, or would you refuse the money? I think I know the answer to that.
Refuse.
Yeah, would we all answer that the same way? I'd refuse the money.
I'll take the money.
That's it. The money.
Yeah, you're out. Gaming done. Just no gaming. $500,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's lots of other passions out there that you can turn to. There's always something. There's always something. For some people, it's video games. Some people, they knit or whatever. So
Hey, don't knock knitting.
I'm not knocking knitting. I'm saying.
Yeah, I think for £500,000 is to never play another video game again. It is, and I gave my answer pretty quick, and it is not a simple question, I guess. But you could always get into tabletop gaming. You could do board games. Like if you wanted that kind of immersion, there's other ways you could do it. But just imagine how great we'd be on our instruments if we just never played another video game.
Yeah,
this is true. Getting paid to play guitar. I'm coming around on that $500,000. Well, thank you, Adrian. I appreciate you taking some time to answer those questions and for joining us, of course. We've got plenty of show left here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate being here.
Right?
If you'd like
Let's go, boys.
If you'd like to support us, ABOG, there are 3 easy ways to do that. You can tell a friend. Old school. It's the way to do it. Tell a friend, grab their phone, hook them up, subscribe to the podcast there for them. You can leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. And you can join our Discord server. Become a part of our community. You can find all that, including links to Discord on our website, abandofgamers.com. Let's share what we're drinking. And I may need another one. I'm having so much fun here with Adrian. Might have to get another beer here. I almost tore through my first one. Who wants to get us started? Shane or Carl? Let's show Adrian how we do this here.
I mean, I've just cracked the can.
Ooh, there it is. Oh, look at that.
This is brand new. Just trying to get it in the shot there. was just saying to Adrian, actually, oh man, that sentiment just dropped right out there. I was just saying to Adrian, actually, before we recorded, that you wander around the store and you're looking at these options, the beers and stuff. And, I've now checked in over 1,000 beers on Untapped, individual unique beers. So, I've had at least, I don't know, double that, I guess, which before I discovered there was an app to actually record your beer drinking. So wandering around the aisles of the supermarket, I found this one from Buxton Brewing, and they normally just great, real, proper beers, proper ales, IPAs, and they do bizarrely, an ice cream series, original ice cream series. So this I have here is a lemon meringue ice cream sorbet.
Oh, yeah.
I sound like such a beer snob then, just describing this beer.
Right.
But it's they do a series of these, and they're basic dessert beers. And as I've just poured it in, it looks like there's tiny little bits of lemon zest in there, gone into the brew itself. But it's real thick. It's super, super juicy. Never had it before, so let's just have a quick taste. It's almost like a sour.
Ooh.
It's got a hell of a tang to it. Definitely get the lemon with the sweetness, I suppose, that you get in a meringue as well. So definitely more lemon than meringue, but interesting. This is like £5 a can, which is quite expensive. But I thought, well, I'd exhausted all the options on the shelves. I thought I'd just grab something different. But it's refreshing. I think if you rattled through like 6 or 7 beers and you're like, it's a hot summer's day, like, one of these, maybe with some ice cubes in it, just to get, just to cool it right down.
Really? It's ice cubes in your beer?
Well, not by default, not normally. But if you had like a Radler or something, you might have just a bit of ice in there, or like a cider, you have some crushed ice in there or something. Ooh. Just really helps it just hit the spot. But yeah, on a nice hot summer's day, this might be all right.
Really? You're feeling refreshed?
I think lemon makes everything better. A little squirt of lemon, everything. Ask my wife. I mean, she puts lemon on it. It's like everything.
Nice.
It's like my stepdad with ketchup.
Yeah.
Shane, what do you got in your glass there? And Adrian's over there like, holy shit, I have to talk really a lot about my beer. You don't. But
you don't. I went over the top then.
Case in point, I've gone with my probably been my favorite beer over the past year, Boombox Brewing, Subsonic, Hazy IPA, 4%, 100% flavor. It's delicious and nutritious, low cal as well. I swear I've had probably a couple thousand of these things over the past year and a half, I imagine.
A couple thousand?
I think so, man, because I go through, I drink way too much, guys, man. I gotta take it. No, I don't.
I think I just saw your liver eject while we were recording.
Right? Dear liver, get ready to give her.
All right, Adrian, you by no means do you have to go into that amount of detail, but just share with us what you're drinking, and if you would like to share in some detail, of course.
Yeah, no worries. I'm drinking the 3 Floyds Barbarian Haze IPA.
Ooh,
nice.
3 Floyds.
Yeah, they do great stuff. It's not quite a dessert in the cup as Carl's, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
home of the zombie dust.
Oh,
yes.
That's a great beer.
3 Floyds is the best. Good choice.
Thank you. Gumball Head is also tracking right now with a lot of people, it seems.
Ooh, I haven't had one of those.
3 Floyds.
Yeah, I've had one of those in years. Gumball Head, those are really good. And the Space Station Middle Finger is also a favorite.
Oh, yes. I remember that one.
Yeah.
A firm favorite.
It's one of Vinny's favorites, too, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Vince likes a good beer as well. Friend of the show, Vince. I've got Eagle Park. It's Eagle Park Brewing here in Milwaukee. It's called the Royal Wii.
Ooh.
The Royal Wii, not we like Nintendo Wii, like we like us together. And it's a New England IPA. Very just kind of a delicious, pretty straightforward. It's got cashmere and some Citra hops. Citra, Shane. See? Everything in the States has got Citra.
Yes. Citra's good. Who's the one I said? I don't know.
You had a Citra a couple shows ago, and you're like, I don't think you've had much of Citra hop before. And here it's like everything's got Citra.
No, that was the that was the hoppy lager I had where they changed and went. I don't know if they had Citra and then went to a different one or whatnot, but then they changed and they kind of changed the flavor. It wasn't as good as I remember it, but yeah, man. Mine could be, the Subsonic could be full of Citra hops.
It could. They could be a Citra hop place. So it's a little bit of. I mentioned at the top of the show that I feel like $1 million. I'm gonna share this. I didn't share it last time. I talked slightly around it, but I just beat COVID, man.
What?
I caught, and Adrian, I didn't tell you this.
Final bust.
But yeah, some permadeath. No. So the Bucks Game 6, which I know Adrian, you also attended. No, I'm vaccinated. Got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Went to that game. There was a shit ton of people there, and as you do now, as you're getting back into the real world, right? These giant like events. It feels weird, right? I mean, having been through the COVID, the pandemic, having been through that forever, being locked in your house, you get out to these places, even like a pub, and it's like, oh shit, am I going to be okay? Is this okay? I went from like kind of tiptoeing to like 150,000 people at the Bucks game. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was ridiculous amount of people there, but I was protected. I'm like, I've got the vaccine. I'm good. Totally caught COVID at the Bucks game. And a lot of people did. Like I just saw, I keep Googling it just because it was interesting to me, the breakthrough cases and like all the symptoms were different. And I was trying to figure out, because my wife did not catch it. She went to the same game and she had the Moderna vaccine. So completely different vaccine, caught nothing, 0 symptoms. She went and got tested just because I have it. So you might as well make sure you're not, being reckless around other people. She came back negative. Wow. But I mean, there's a lot of people that caught COVID at that Bucks game. What's the word on the street there? Have you heard about that, Adrian?
Well, game 4, I got informed that somebody sitting near me had tested positive for COVID. So I also had the Moderna. And so the Bucks had me go get tested at their place just to make sure.
Oh,
Thankfully, I came back negative.
Nice. That's wild.
But, yeah, I read in the paper from the parade and all that. Yeah, COVID, there was like 500 some cases that they got from all that.
Yeah, and that's what's documented. And so far, I think my sister works for a hospital, and she had people this last week who are at Bucks Game 6 and are just finding out now, here weeks after the fact, that they have COVID. So that number is probably in the low range. It's probably a lot higher than 500.
Did you look outside at Game 6, like outside the windows, and see all the people out there?
In the Deer District? I did. Yeah. I mean, and I had to walk. We walked out that way. So, I mean, we had just won the championships. Those people did not leave, even though we stayed inside, watched the trophy presentation and everything. But then we had to walk out through that crowd. So I'm not sure if I caught it inside or outside, but I'm sure it's one of the two, obviously.
Yeah, before the game, when I was inside and I saw all the people outside in the Deer District, I just had this moment of, I'm like, this is what it's like to be trapped in a building during a zombie apocalypse. Like, you can't leave if you want to. Oh my God.
It was pretty crazy. And I know Shane and Carl saw the pictures or the footage. There was a lot of people there. It was nuts. I mean, there was nowhere to go, right? It just almost like spilling over into the streets almost. It was crazy. But the reason I bring this up is yesterday. So I tested positive a couple weeks ago, and I had the symptoms, and I kind of knew I had it, but I waited until I had a negative test before being responsible before I went out to a grocery store or beer store or to do anything. I waited for a negative test. I went and got retested this last Thursday, a couple days ago, got the negative test on Friday. So my wife and I went to Eagle Park yesterday, had beers. We got to get out. We got to get out and just have some beers. Ran into a teammate there, a coworker. He's like, what brings you way downtown? Don't you live like way over there? I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, what brings you here? I'm like, I beat COVID. Give me beer. I'm drinking beer, man. That's what I'm doing.
T-shirt.
Coming down drinking beers.
Nice.
The thing is, though, it is like, and I said at the beginning of the show, like, and obviously I'm going to Bloodstock next weekend, and even though I'm double jabbed and I've been for a while, like it's one of them things. I'm thinking, like, I've got my two mates. We always go to these festivals and all of our heavy metal gigs together for like, I don't know, donkey's years now. And then we met up and had a beer a few weeks back, and we were like, right, what's the crack? Like, what are we going to do? It's like we're in our own bubble, and this whole thing's outside is probably only about 10,000, I think. It's not as big as Download, but it is outside. So, like, we have a tent each, we've got a 4-man tent each, and then we have like a little gazebo to sit under and stuff. So I'm quite comfortable with them. But it's obviously the minute you go into anywhere that's, a bit busy and everyone's kind of squashed together, I'm just thinking, oh God, like I'm super stoked for it, but at the same time, I'm like nervous about it and don't really want to be around that many people. The only good thing is there's nobody I'm going to be in the pit for, so there'll be no pit action. So hopefully that will keep me safe. But who knows? Next time we record, I'll probably have it.
Whoa!
No, you'll be
Come on,
good,
man.
No,
it's outdoor, right? It's outdoor, which is a huge difference from being indoor. Air is always moving. It's like water. It's always, flowing. So it'd be a lot less of a risk being outside, and you ain't going in. You're not going in the pit.
Well, I'm not getting in the pit. That's true.
I know you well. You're not going in the pit, but
no. It's
you'll be drinking beers,
and by that point, the alcohol to blood level is probably heavily weighted in favor of alcohol. So technically, you're probably not going to get it anyway.
Is that the tip? Just get drunk, right? Just get loaded.
Yeah, just
make sure you've got more alcohol in your system than blood, and you're pretty much
I think so.
Invincible to the COVID.
Either that or get one of them big bubbles, like the big footballs, and just stain that and bounce off people all weekend. That'll be fine.
Take pictures if you do.
Oh, yeah.
But you got both doses. You're double jabbed. You're for now fully vaxxed and whatnot. So even if something were to happen, your symptoms, from what they're saying, are going to be a lot lighter. Joel, how were the symptoms for you after having being vaccinated and then catching it?
Well, so it started off like a sinus infection where I had like the pressure in the temple, and typically when I get a sinus infection, I get one of those every couple of years. It takes a really strong over-the-counter medication to get rid of it. It doesn't kind of go away on its own. So I went to the Walgreens, got like some sinus specific medication, and it kind of didn't go away. Yeah, so I ended up doing like a Teladoc, getting like an antibiotic, which I usually don't do, just to kind of get over the hump. But it wasn't too bad. It was like just a nasty sinus infection, cold kind of a thing for it's like a week. But the first weekend that I had it, so a couple days into it, I was completely knocked out. I spent the whole weekend like Netflix and chill, just sitting on the couch, totally out of it. And almost about 3 weeks of fatigue. So I feel like $1,000,000 today. Yesterday was the first time I felt really good. So it's been a while since Bucks game 6, right? I mean, it's going on, I think would be 3 weeks this Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
Something close to that. I was going to ask how long until you tested negative.
Well, I took the test because I work from home and I had symptoms, so I just didn't go anywhere besides seeing my wife. I didn't initially get the COVID test. I'm like, you know what? It's just a sinus infection. I'm vaccinated. It can't be COVID. And then I lost my...
telling you.
Yeah, Carl was telling me, go get tested. I'm like, phooey, I'm fine. But then I lost my sense of smell at one point. I'm like, oh shit, this is not normal. This is not a sinus infection. So I lost my sense of smell on like a Thursday. I think I got tested like on a Friday. I'm like, okay, now I got to get tested. And it was positive. So I tested maybe week and a half after the game. So it was a ways after.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that was positive. And then I waited. So I'm probably at the tail end of it at that point, just based on time and kind of what we're reading here with how long it takes. And then I waited another week before I had the second test, which actually obviously came back negative. And then I'm like, all right, Eagle Park, let's go. We got to get some beers.
Don't blame you.
So yeah,
that's wild.
Eagle Park is tasting really good. I set my wife up to the counter, gave her the thrill of a lifetime. Go, you go pick out the beers. You go ahead. You pick out the 4-packs.
You know what I like.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Don't fuck it up.
A little Lance romance there.
Go pick out the beers. And she picked out the Royal Wee here. So special occasion. Feeling like $1,000,000. I feel great. It feels good to be good again. My sense of smell came back last week. You don't realize how important a sense of smell is until it's gone. And then when it's gone, you're like, this kind of sucks. This totally sucks. I was taking a shower. This is when I realized I was taking a shower. The wife had bought like scented soap. No, some really good. I love like a good natural soap, man. It's just getting weird. But I smelled the soap. I couldn't smell anything. I'm like, did she buy like unscented foo-foo soap? No, you don't do that. When you buy the fancy soap, it's got some smell to it. I could smell nothing. I'm like sticking it in my face, like I can't smell anything. And I'm like, this is weird, right? And I'm like, Shay, did you buy unscented? She wasn't even around. I'm like, did you buy unscented soap? It makes no sense. So then I got out of the shower, put the deodorant on, put the deodorant like practically up my nostril, like shoved it in my face. I couldn't smell it. I could not smell the deodorant. I'm like, okay, it's deodorant. It has a smell.
It smells. Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing. The wife got home from work. I'm like, where do you keep your perfume? Because I want to stick that like straight up my fucking nose and see if I could smell it. And she's like, my perfume's not very strong. I'm like, bring it. Where's the perfume?
She's like, look, I'll show you, but take my dress and shoes off first.
could smell nothing. So, and then it affected my taste buds and stuff. Beers tasted like shit for like a week, and I was drinking these $10 beers. Like my wife's like, why are you drinking the good shit? I have like a Pabst. What are you doing? I'm like, whatever. I'm going to pretend I'm enjoying this. All right. So pretty wild.
I was going to ask if you had if you got the taste bud action as well. How was eating?
Yeah, I think I still had like a slight sense of taste, but I kind of had that sick mouth taste that you get when you get kind of like a nasty cold. That made the beers kind of taste like shit. And I think there's obviously a correlation between scent and taste buds. So there was a little bit of a lesser taste thing, but the taste didn't go away completely. I wasn't like some people I've seen on Facebook where like, bring on all the horrible shit that I will never eat because I can't taste anything.
Right.
I didn't have that. So I stayed
eating like Carolina Reapers or some hot ass pepper, just walking through
ginger, like.
So yeah, good reason to celebrate. Let's raise our glasses to beating COVID, but more importantly to Adrian for joining us. Thank you, Adrian. It's a long time coming. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
All right, let's get into some games here. We've got a platinum, of course. Grow that e-penis. But I wanted to mention here and have a little bit of a chat about it. So I started playing Pixel Junk Monsters 2 again. Longtime listeners of the show will know that I'm a Pixel Junk Monsters freak. I've played the hell out of the first one, and on the PlayStation 4 I played the second one, and that's my second platinum trophy. Well, no, excuse me, my first platinum was my first platinum trophy. So I played the hell out of it on that. And there was nothing else to do on that one. I platinum, right? Like there was no more Pixel Junk Monsters 2 to be had, unless I just played the whole thing a second time. The other day, still kind of recuperating, getting some rest at night, turned on the Switch. I'm like, the handheld will be good right now. I'm just going to sit on the couch. Wife's going to watch some TV or something. There it was. I forgot. I bought Pixel Junk Monsters 2 also on the Switch.
Yes.
So I am like way back in that hole again. I'm totally into Pixel Junk Monsters 2 again, starting from scratch because I have nothing opened up on the Switch version. So totally playing through it again, and it just got me thinking like, what the hell am I doing? I could be playing Hades. I could be playing all these great games that I bought and never finished, and here I am playing the same damn game again. Why? Well, I love it. I mean, there's that. So I'm having a great time with it. It's like comfort food. While I wasn't feeling very good, but now that I feel better, I'm still playing Pixel Junk Monsters 2. I cannot put that down. So question for you three. Should I feel guilty playing the same game for the whatever millionth time? Or should I not worry about it and just have at it? I'm kind of curious your thoughts. Because I feel like stupid. Like I've got all these games sitting there in a cellophane, if you will, in the digital library. Like I need to play these games. No, I'll play the same one again.
I'm just going to say the heart wants what the heart wants.
Oh.
Can't ignore the call.
He's calling them out.
Got to follow it, eh?
I concur, man. I mean, look, it's like Netflix, and you turn it on and you're browsing and think, what can I watch? And then you end up just not watching anything because you spent an hour just looking through the titles that you can watch. Video gaming is very similar to me. Like I'll be like, I've got all these games installed. I really want to play something different. I need to play something else from the backlog. And then I'm like, yeah, but Diablo's there, or The Witcher, or Rocket League back in the day. There's always going to be something that's like it's your comfort food, isn't it? The game that you want to, go back into. But like, yeah, and I think Monster Train is that for me at the moment. Like I've always boot up Xbox, the Game Pass, and I'm like, I've finished Monster Train over and over, but I'm like, yeah, it's so much fun just to do a run of that, and I can watch something at the same time. You can multitask with it, and it's just like, yeah, it's that comfort food. It's definitely don't feel guilty, John. You play what you want to play.
I'm writing down Monster Train. I'm not familiar with Monster Train. Has he mentioned that before, Shane? I feel like that's the first time I've heard Monster Train mentioned on ABOG.
No, I've talked about it before.
Have you?
Yeah, he's talked about it numerous times.
Oh, I mean, I think we talked about it in one show. It's on Game Pass. It's good game.
Maybe that'll get me out of this mess. What do you think, Shane? Should I feel guilty for playing Pixel Junk Monsters too?
Not at all, man. Power to you. It's comfort food, like you said. That's a perfect description of it. It's like me and the Crew 2 or Drive Club. And it was funny because creeping up on those 99 platinums, I was thinking, what's going to be 100? We're kind of thinking about that. And buddy suggested, he's like, "What? Do Drive Club again?" I wish I could.
Yeah, it's gone.
I wish I could get another platinum on it. I totally would, but yeah, man, that's what you do, man. Drive Club, that's my mash.
I had another question here, another follow-up question, but you brought it up, Shane. I got to hear. I got to know. What was the 100th platinum? What did you decide on for your 100th platinum on PlayStation?
Well, for the 100th platinum, see, we were thinking about it. It's like, it's got to be something. It's got to be. But then it's, you think about it more. It's like, when it hit 200, I'm not even going to remember what 100 was. Once it's done and it pings, it's kind of behind. So it was only fitting for it to be another easy cheesy, easy peasy platinum, another $1.50, 5-10 minuter.
Wait a
and
second.
That is the showcase of this episode's
Is it the same
segment?
Is it the same one that Carl's got?
It is the same one
All
that
right.
Carl's got.
All right.
So we'll roll with this.
No, we got to wait. Now we got to wait because I had a follow-up question. I'm going to divert. We'll come back to your 100th platinum because
sure.
That's I see on the agenda here. That's Carl's got the same game. And that's his cheeky platinum trophy. The follow-up question I have: what is your Pixel Junk Monsters? To the three of you, what game do you keep coming back to over and over and over again? What's your Pixel Junk Monsters? Do you have one?
Man, that's a good question.
Thanks.
That's difficult because there's always games I want to play through. I'll finish a game, like Persona 5 is a great example, Platinum Day. I then bought Persona 5 Royale, or the Royal, and I desperately want to play through that whole game again and just have right after you finish the game, there's this little bit of extra content which they added on for the Royal. And I know that I've got so many other games I need to play through before I go and play that game all over again. So for me, it's probably The Witcher 3 because I just have to jump, I can just hear Dave laughing at this now, Dave Maloche, because he said about the Dead Space comment in the last episode where I was like, I get intimidated by these games, just a series of 3 games and I haven't played any, but I'll go back to the same game that I've played for 600 hours and play more. But there's always, I'll just jump back in there and I'll boot it up for half an hour and just run around and do a little quest. Blow up a monster nest and stuff like that. And I've still got the second DLC to play. So I think that is mine, the one that I do tend to jump back into, the guilty pleasure. But, I can't argue with Diablo as well. Diablo 3 has been that game. Even when I've finished it in Platinum, I still go back and play again. When they open up the seasons mode, they do a new season every couple of months. So you jump back in, you play again, create new characters, get more cosmetics. It's got that itch. You have to go back.
I think mine is probably going to be the second Geometry Wars.
Ooh, nice.
It's a twin stick, and there's like hundreds of modes, lots of levels, and each of those comes with like a personal goal of like beating your own score, your friends list score, and then improving your global ranking on all those variety of ones. And there's ones that I'll just narrow in. I'm like, okay, it's only going to be waves, or it's only going to be King of the Hill. And that's probably the one that keeps me coming back, just seeing like, if I can keep pushing those.
That's a great choice, man, because I love the leaderboard in that game. Now, I played that, I think, on PlayStation. I played the first one on Xbox, the second one on PlayStation. I don't think I got very far into it because every time I fire it up, my friend beat my prior score, and I'm like back to whatever level that is. Like, well, fuck. No. And I'll spend 12 hours just trying to one up whatever that, attempt is at that score. So it's a great score chase game. I never thought of that. Score chase games. It's a great point good games to go back to.
It is. It's been one of the ones I even like motivated, like, because I have like 20 some friends and like I message them all. I'm like, if you can beat any score that I got on there, I'm like, I'll buy you any $10 game on Steam, rain check, like, and like just to get them all climbing, because like, because you kind of hit like a plateau and it's like good, and then like 7 of them broke ones, and I'm like, oh man, that's $70 I owe. But it was fun. There's a couple of them that I still haven't been able to overclimb what they did.
Oh shit!
Sounds like Joe Danger when Shane. I was really good at Joe Danger, and Shane picked it up and just blew all my scores away. And I'm like, all right, fuck this game. I'm out.
Yeah, he killed that game pretty quick.
Yeah, he did it in like 10 minutes. Took me like fucking 2 weeks or 4 weeks or some shit. A couple months actually. I'm just chasing that game. Dude shows up, blows my scores away in like a couple hours. I'm like, yeah. That was my throw the controller. I'm out. Done.
Yeah. I was like top 5 on that first level in the world for like the longest time too.
Damn, man.
Wow.
And it was fluke too,
Nice.
man. I didn't even know the buttons back then.
You suck, just for the record.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you.
Hey, I mean, people wanted to chirp and whatnot, and hey,
it was me.
Let's go.
It was me chirping. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it wasn't you chirping, but I remember there's people chirping, so there you go. When we do a better score,
Just rolls up. Like, doesn't know the controls. Like, yeah, top 5.
I was using the remote.
Damn.
No, not quite, man. But yeah, those comfort food games, man. There's been so many. For me, it's usually like an open world racer. Like the Crew 2, which has been the one that I just get, put it on, put some tunes on, get the chat going with a couple buddies, and I just play, do some events and whatnot. Burnout Paradise was for the longest time was always a go-to. Not even trying to accomplish anything, just being in that world and that environment that was so familiar, and just having a blast, right? So those are usually the ones for me.
I was gonna guess Burnout Paradise for you.
The
Crew 2. I forgot about that one. Do you still play that? Still go back to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Every week I put it in at least once a week. They've completely revamped how they do their summit for all their summit events and whatnot, and for the better, might I add too. Now, so if you're a fan of the Crew 2 and whatnot, you've played and you haven't put it in for a while, definitely do that. There's a lot of new events and a lot more rewards to get now. So, yeah, that one's always on the go. Always.
Well, thank you guys. I feel better about my Pixel Junk Monsters too. I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep playing more. Sorry,
Right.
Sorry for lack of content on the show here, but here I come, man.
Right?
More Pixel
He's
Junk
back.
Monsters too. Yeah,
Post-Rona.
good stuff.
Let's go, boys.
Great half an hour in and out, like Carl was talking about earlier for the new dad over here, Adrian. I did pick up a game, and just the comfort food games are great just to get a half an hour, and you're not investing. You don't need 3 hours to play a chunk. You can just kind of quick in and out. And I think Pixel Junk Monsters 2 is just one level. So half an hour is usually about a sweet spot there. Usually right. But I have to perfect every level. That's the problem with that game.
Need those rainbows.
Yeah, I need the rainbows. So it's like you get all the way through the half hour and you screw up one little thing. You're like, oh, restart. Start over. You got to perfect it. Yep. Lose a lot of time
I
on
hate
that one.
rainbows. What? Nobody hates rainbows. Well, I hate rainbows. Carmen, you don't even know what rainbow is. Yes, I do, and I hate them.
You can't hate rainbows.
All right. E-Peen.
E-penis.
Yeah, I guess we Our into the 18th segment. Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome, everyone.
You segued and then you just stopped. Like,
Right.
He lost his way because it's a big 100, right?
Yes. A little bit blinding. But I had found, like, a couple days after we recorded the last episode, one came up, a nice cheap one. I think it was like $1.50, maybe $2, 5 minutes. Easy peasy. Let's go. You know what? And like I said, I was, thinking, what's it going to be? And like, let's get it done. Get it done. Get it out of the way. And then on to the next. And yeah, so there it is. Number 100 for me is Tokyo Run. And it was very familiar once I got in there because there's been quite a few little these cheap little platinums that play very, very similar to it. I believe it's called Road Bustle was the one where you had to run over the chickens and then not run over some other chickens. And then after about 5-10 minutes of playing it, then you get a platinum trophy. Yay. So that's been 100. And I mentioned it to Carl because I know he loves his easy, cheap platinums as well. And you picked this one up, didn't you?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was quite sluggish as well. Like I picked it up and I was like, yeah, well, this will be an easy one. You just have to collect the little gold rings or gold coins or whatever they are, sovereigns, if you will. And it just seemed really unresponsive and sludgy to control. Not a fun game to play, but super quick. Like it was, platinum done in 10 minutes. I think it was no longer than that. Super straightforward. So I think that's 131 for me.
Whoa!
I've still got a load of more to play, and then I bought. Last episode you were on about those bowling ones, so I bought 5 of those. I think the 5 episodes of whatever they are. So 70p each or something. So I was like, it's fine. So there's a few on there, but I have actually got a couple of good games to play to platinum as well. So hopefully I'll go back. I'm tempted to platinum Cyberpunk as well. I'm itching to play through that again. So that might be next up on the agenda.
Is there like a PC equivalent, Adrian? I don't know if you've caught what we're doing here with this EP thing.
Yeah, perfecting them.
Well, no, just like buying a cheap game for a really easy PlayStation Platinum trophy, like $1.50 for 10 minutes. They get the trophy, they're out. Oftentimes, these games are not good games. Like I hear these guys talk about it, like, it was the worst game ever. But totally got that platinum. I don't know. I don't think Steam does achievements and trophies, right? So this I don't even.
They do actually.
They do.
So I just pulled up my account. So the easiest one to get a perfect on that I have is Resident Evil Village gameplay demo, which was to play for the full 1 hour.
Nice. That sounds pretty easy.
Wild.
I got Outriders on there. I only have 5. I got Outriders, Magic 2012, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire, and then Zombie Party.
Ooh, Zombie Party, let's go, boys.
Pillars of Eternity 2 can't be a quick game, surely. That's a lengthy one.
It was. I had it saved at the right part where like I got to a certain point and I'm like, I'm just going to look up an achievement guide and see like... And then I looked at my save files and I was like, oh my God, actually, I have one right in place what I need to do that I didn't do. So, and I committed to it and I went for it.
Nice. Good work. Does it actually detail on Steam how easy those are? Because I never look at Steam achievements, to be fair, but does it actually tell you which ones are the easiest to get?
So they have a global percentage of what people hit. And then there's another list. I can't think of what it's called. That and one could be like we'll just say like 1% rarity, but like there's some that are 1% rarity worth more in this value scale that people have like based on percentage of people that bought the game and did it. But just looking at my profile, it tells you like how many games you own, which is 279. I've earned a total of 4,077 achievements with an average completion score of 34%.
I bet that's significantly higher than mine on Steam.
Yeah, mine too on like Xbox and PlayStation, where I very rarely get anything. Mine's pathetic.
I think my PlayStation was probably, I don't know what percentage that is. I'm sure there is a website, psnprofiles, I think, .com, and it does detail how difficult the percentages are to obtain trophies and all the rest of it. So I do jump on that every now and again, have a little look, and it gives you a ranking overall in the world, in the UK, and all that sort of stuff. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about Steam, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh, when I was on the store buying this Easy Platinum the other day, I saw that one of the most bizarre and interesting games that I played on Steam, Doki Doki Literature Club, is on PS4. It's like a tenner, I think, so maybe a bit more expensive than you pay on Steam. Adrian, have you ever played it? It's a bit strange.
No. I'll look it up right now. It's called Doki Doki.
Doki Doki Literature Club. It's a very strange. It's like a Japanese.
Yes.
You're a student and you've got like 4 female friends. You have to write poetry and kind of woo them, or woo whichever one you want to be with. But it ends up in this massively disturbing psychological horror. Like it's crazy. It's a really, really interesting game. Not to play if you have a weak disposition in terms of like mental health and stuff like that. It's pretty brutal, but it's really is an interesting game.
It's it reviews well. It's got a 96% review score of 8,100 people.
Yeah. It's really. It was not what I expected when I started playing it. It was recommended to me, and I was like, okay, I'll give that a go. I was like, oh shit, this is intriguing. But it's on PlayStation now. I noticed the other day.
I'll put it on my wish list. I'll keep track of it.
Yeah, man, pick it up if it's cheap.
Thank you.
Since you're a Steam expert, Adrian, can you confirm or deny what Shane told me about? There's a game on Steam. This is was this last episode or the episode before that?
Yeah.
Well, like male shower simulator. What was this? What was
Shower
it?
with your dad simulator.
Oh, shower with your dad. That's really funny. I could take a screenshot and show you.
That's legit.
It's brilliant.
It's in my inventory. Somebody gifted it to me like years ago.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
Shower with your dad simulator 2015.
What is
2015,
that?
yes.
What does that say about your friend? Like, hey, you need to play this, Adrian. You need to shower with your dad. Come on.
Daddy.
Every holiday season, there's ones that like pop up, and I just read the notes that people leave with the game. And there's been some really funny ones. That one definitely got me.
I've got a game on mine, mate, called "There's Poop in My Soup."
What?
Nice. You have to fling poop in people's soup. It's a lot of fun. What can you say?
Remember Poop Slinger on PlayStation?
Poop Slinger?
It's a game.
That was a game?
Poop Slinger. And the guy who did it ended up wanting to do a physical copy of it. So and it's actually the rarest physical PlayStation 4 game, because he actually went and had a bunch made, but ran out of money, or bank loan didn't go through, or whatever the reason was. Ended up running out of money, and there was only like 80 copies that ended up getting made. So he started selling them out online to people. Yeah, DM me. Whatever, I got to get rid of these. There's 4 cases of games, whatever, and there's people that have picked them up, and it goes for a good $1,000. Super, super rare, but yeah, Poop Slinger, interesting little title.
The irony, oh my god!
Right,
you live and learn, right? Well, Adrian will experience that himself anyway in a few months' time. Come January next year, he'll be a pro at Poop Slinger.
I think so.
And shortly thereafter, showering with your dad. It's just
it's all coming full circle.
Yeah. It's just it's been training, for January and after.
I like that.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. Hey, I don't say this too often, but we've got a website, abandofgamers.com. I do say that part, but you should leave a comment in our show notes. Just go to our website, look for the show post for this episode. I think, what are we on? 246.
246.
Find that episode. Leave a comment in the show notes. Give some tips to Adrian. Some tips about new dad and how you can find some time for gaming.
Help me out.
Yeah.
I'll be reading them.
There you go. So be there. Leave some tips. Come on, help us out. Help Adrian out.
It'll help me pass those parenting classes that are coming up in my future here.
Parenting classes? I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it kind of helps you like having your first child, your firstborn. It's the do's and don'ts.
Got it.
The first one, you always got to wing it.
Yeah, and the second one you don't care. So that'd be fine. First child was covered in blankets and stuff. Must be
Right.
super protective. Second one's walking on glass. It'd be all right. Don't worry.
Well, thank you again, Adrian, for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Been a
King.
blast.
For the rest of you, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Take care. See ya.
Bye. Laters.